All right, welcome back. Episode number 2 of Stepping into the Box of College Baseball. I am here with a left-handed pitcher from Missouri, Chase Van Dyke. Chase, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Appreciate you coming on.
Sure, man.
All right, so first off, where are you from?
From Frisco, Texas. Played high school ball at Reedy High School in Frisco. Then I went to OU out of high school. I transferred after my freshman year of college, or first semester of my freshman year, and I went to Grayson for a year and a half until COVID ended our season. I signed to Missouri in the fall of that year, and now I'm here.
All right, so how did you get into the game? What was your journey of starting to play baseball to get to where you are today?
I had a deep love for the game, ever since I remember playing t-ball at age 3 and 4, and just being around baseball all the time. My dad was a coach, and he loved the game too. And being out in San Diego, where I'm from, the weather was great, so I would go outside, play catch with my dad every day. I played a lot of the baseball video games, when I was a kid, from the bigs and MVP baseball and all that stuff. Always loved baseball cards, so I had a deep love for the game. Always knew a lot about it just from doing everything associated with the game, and played rec ball up until I was about 10 or 11 and started getting serious. Played with a guy named Shane Wallace. He was my first club coach out in Dallas, D-bat, and that's when I really started. I was like, hey, I like playing this at a higher level, and love competing. I loved going out, long weekends, week-long tournaments in Texas heat. It was just fun, and fell in love with the game there.
All right, so you said you went to Grayson Junior College. Also, the first guest, Braden Carmichael, he went to JUCO too. I know you guys played there together. Why do you think JUCOs are so important to not only baseball players but just athletes in general?
I think junior college gives, it's a good opportunity for players that aren't really, they just love the game. It's a good place to go get better. At Grayson, we had a real minor league feel to it. You just go out there and play, and you get better, and it's all about winning. It's all about competing. And if you're a guy that just needs to get better, or maybe a little overlooked in high school, or if you're just looking to go pro, and you're that type of player, junior college is a great place for you to go. Go out there 4 or 5 hours a day, just focus on baseball. You can get your lift in, and it's a good place to go, get strong, grow up, and mature. I'd do it over again 1,000 times. I loved my 2 years at Grayson. If COVID didn't end our season early, we probably would have won. Went to the Junior College World Series at Grand Junction. We were 18-2 or 18-3, I think, in our first 20 games until COVID ended our season last year. And me, Carmichael, Shea Hardis was going to Tech next year, Rourke. We were all a great staff there, and we had great guys in relief like Will Duncan. Signed to Houston. We just had arms to throw on top of arms, and then our offense was just unbelievable too. Blake Rambush going to Auburn next year, Taylor Smith at A&M. Just guys going everywhere, and we played all 3 phases of the game really well, and I think that team was special. Got to give it credit to Dusty Hart. He's won a Natty 3 times too as a player, 1 as a coach, and he knows what a championship culture is. He knows how to win, and he knows how to get the best out of his players.
Yeah. So what do you think, the number one thing that you were going to Grayson to improve on to get to where you are today, to get to D1 and then hopefully get to the pros?
I think for me, it was just personally taking advantage of the time and, the kind of the solidarity of where Grayson is, and just being in love with the game, and just taking that mindset and getting better every day and saying, hey, baseball is my life now. I can, get better. I can research. It was just a great place for me to go and just really get better. I would say that, cut out a lot of distraction, and, the coaches always, the coaches there are great staff, always have faith in you, always believe in you. So I think that's a huge deal. The culture is great, winning culture, and the coaches there are there for you. They're not there for themselves. It's great. It's a great place to go and drop your ego and just put your nose down and grind. And, it forms a brotherhood with everybody there. I can call any of those guys anytime. Those guys will be in my wedding. So I can't say enough about it.
Yeah, because it seems like it's almost like you're playing baseball with school on the side, because it's trying to get a lot of your gen eds out of the way, and then it's just focus on baseball. Like, you're out there probably throwing flat grounds, throwing bullpens, and just getting better every single day.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's always a competitive environment. You know, if you need to throw a pen at any time, you can go almost at any time of the day, just right in your backyard, which is awesome. You know, I think that tool, you know, just having the cages right there next to your dorm and having the field right there next to your dorm, you know, it's an environment where you can wake up, eat your breakfast, and then go hit, go pitch, go long toss, you know. And the coaches are always available. The resources are great. And, you know, you have guys always wanting to get better, you know, because everybody's trying to make the dream there and make it happen.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you're left-handed pitcher. What pitches are you throwing?
I throw a four-seam fastball, changeup, and a curveball, and a slider. My slider is kind of, you know, if my curveball is not working that day, or if I need to go kind of hard and mix it up, I'll go with the slider.
Yeah. So me and you went to the same high school, so we played a lot of catch. And something that you've taught me is that when I would throw, because I'm a left-handed pitcher too, when I would throw my four-seam, I had my fingers spread apart, but you taught me to like put them like super, super close together. And it helped the ball look like it was coming out faster and like helped it go on a straighter line. Who taught you that?
I learned that from a guy named Mike Bassick Sr. So he's a well-known pitching coach out in Dallas. He's 70 years old now, but, you know, he has a way of communicating. You know, he can communicate with kids and players of all ages, you know, and he teaches, you know, great mechanics, great foundations of pitching and everything you really need to know and to be consistent with. And he's the greatest guy in the world. You know, I can call him at any time, and he just teaches you the right way to pitch. You know, it's not, you know, he's going to work with you and he's going to teach you the right way to do stuff, how they do in the pros. He pitched 5 years in the big leagues. His son pitched 7 years in the big leagues, and, you know, he's been there, he has experience, and he does it in his own backyard, you know, and there's no time set on, you know, when to work, you know, how long. He's like, hey, you're going to get better. You're going to learn stuff, and I'm going to give you drills and things to do to make it better. And he's taken my game. You know, I started working with him when I was 15, 16. And sorry, I was getting a call.
Oh, you're good.
I was I started working when I was 15 and 16. I was real raw. You know, my mechanics I wasn't really in sync. I wasn't really a pitcher. I was more of a thrower. You know, I had a great left arm. You know, I was skinny, and I didn't really know what pitching was at that time. I just thought it was, hey, let's go throw it as hard as I can, and I'll throw a breaking ball every time. And, you know, that's where he helped me refine my game into, you know, more of a professional approach to pitching. And, you know, he taught me my fastball, you know, fingers close together. So you throw that on that axis and, you know, rides, and you'll have better command with it. And that was a huge thing for me because it helped me, you know, improve my command, improve my catch play, and, you know, create a consistent release for me every time.
And your change, are you throwing like a circle change or?
No, I kind of throw like a little box change. So my hands aren't huge. And so what I really try to do here with my changeup is I just try to create four-seam backspin. So it looks the same with my fastball out of the hand. Mm-hmm. So I want them both spinning like this. And I just put my index finger and my middle finger right here on the inside of the ball. And I'll put a little pressure here and a little pressure here, you know, throw it right on the fingertips, you know. And that allows me to pronate and throw the, you know, the back inside part of the ball, you know, and just let it roll off like this, roll off the pinky, so it creates this.
So when you come across, you're trying to pronate as you go through the motion?
No, I'm not necessarily trying to pronate, because pronate, I kind of let the grip work and the pressure work. You know, I don't ever try to pronate. I just throw like a fastball in the way everybody naturally pronates when they throw. So I just let it kind of naturally do its thing. I don't try to do too much with it. And I'm not looking for these huge, you know, reverse sliders or anything. I'm just looking for, you know, a pitch that I can throw behind in the count that looks the same as my fastball, and that I can throw to either side of the plate.
And then your curveball, you going a spike?
No, I go traditional. 12-6, kind of like how Kershaw would throw his or Bauer would throw his. I learned this from Mike. You know, I just put my finger right here on the, you know, right here on the shoe. You know, I put a lot of pressure there, and I kind of just lay this finger down. What I like to do is like to play catch like this, get it rolling off this finger. I don't try to hook the baseball or try to, you know, do too much. I just say, you know, my finger right here, index finger right here, thumb on the bottom. Just try to let it roll over that middle finger to create this top spin. And when I have that top spin and my curveball's working, I can throw it for a strike. And if I need to, you know, make it a 2-strike pitch, you know, I just put a little more pressure right here and just try to make it a little more nasty. So it's just about, you know, I like having my curveball spin like this, changeup spin like this, and my fastball spin like this. So it's, you know, those 3 pitches look similar out of the hand, and it keeps them a little more off balance.
And then
So
what about your slider?
slider, I kind of play around with it. You know, some days I can throw it right here in the middle of the two seam. I just kind of try to close the door with it right over the top of my right over the top of the baseball, you know, so it has this break, and I like to use it with a, you know, backdoor with righties. So it's a good pitch to throw, you know, when you're heading the count and trying to, you know, get them looking or just trying to create a bad swing. My slider's there for a strike usually when I need it. You know, I could probably tighten it up a bit, but, you know, I trust my fastball change my curveball most. So that's kind of what I stick to, and my sliders are in my back pocket if I need it.
So I know last March you were actually in a really, really bad car accident.
Yeah.
So talk about, I mean, I've talked to you a little about it, but I don't know the full story. I mean, if you want to, however deep you want to get into it, what happened and what have you had to go through?
So pretty much COVID ended our season at Grayson, you know, and we were coming back for exit meetings to figure out our plan for the next year. And, you know, we stayed in the dorms one last night, and, you know, we were going out to get some breakfast the next morning. You know, me, my roommate, Seth Smith, who's currently recovering, and my friend Brandon Gonzalez. And pretty much we were just going out to get breakfast, and we were just we're trying to yield, turn left onto a road, and, you know, pulled out a little too far, and we just got T-boned real bad. And pretty much what happened was we got T-boned. I woke up in the back of the car. You know, we got slammed pretty hard. I was kind of like out of it, just kind of, you know, refocused, thinking about what happened. I wake up and all the airbags are exploded. And, you know, it's kind of foggy in the car. I'm not really sure what's going on. And I noticed my roommate, Seth, he's passed out in the front seat. So I try to wake him up. I'm like, hey, Seth, like, are you okay? Are you okay? And, you know, he's not waking up. And all of a sudden the car, it starts smoking up and it just catches fire. And all of a sudden, you know, I'm on fire in the back seat. You know, I'm in a Camaro, so there's no doors on the side. I'm not really sure. And I'm like, wow, this could be it. Like, I'm on fire, could burn to death. You know, it caught my legs, and, you know, I tried not to touch it with my hands because I didn't want to burn my hands. And I noticed Seth, he was on fire too. And that was, you know, just horrifying to see. And I was trying to wake him up, and all of a sudden I see this big hand just reaching through the driver's side door of the car. And he says, grab on. So pretty much, so I grab on, I get yanked through the driver's side door, and, you know, I fall on the ground. Sorry, charger. And I fall on the ground, and the kind of the morning dew from the grass puts me out. And I'm just looking at my leg, and it's seared. Like, my left leg and my calf is just, and my right calf is just, you know, seared. I can see, like, my muscle is extremely painful. And I look to my right, and I see my femur, my right thigh is just so swollen and big. And, you know, my leg was just limp because, you know, I fractured that femur. And then, you know, they pull me, somebody pulls me away from the car, and I notice my back's hurting. I'm like, wow, this is not good. And I pretty much see through the driver's side door, Seth is still passed out. You know, parts of them are, you know, there's cars in flames. It's smoky and everything. And I see this man and a couple of workers just beating open the front windshield, trying to pull him through because the door is jammed in. I'm sitting there laying back, watching this all unfold. And I'm screaming for my, you know, roommate's name, trying to see if it's okay. And pretty much, you know, they pull me, they get me on the stretcher as all this is happening. And, you know, they had to put my leg back in place. They shot me up with a, you know, ton of pain killing stuff like fentanyl and all that stuff. So I'm starting to get out of it, you know, just wondering if, you know, if I'm going to ever pitch again, you know, if I'm going to walk again, because I really couldn't move my legs. So all that was going through my head. But I was really just worried about my roommate, you know, because I know they took him a while to get out. And pretty much after, you know, about a minute after we each got out, the car just exploded. It just totally in flames. And I was like, oh my God. But the man that saved me, Caleb Derrick, you know, I owe my life to him. He saw the car, you know, starting to smoke and on fire, and he, you know, pulled over, and he came and saved us both, you know. So I can't say enough about that man. He's a guardian angel for me. And, you know, I would be here today, and neither would Seth if it wasn't for him. So he, you know, I thank him every day. You know, if it wasn't for him, you know, I wouldn't be able to see my family, play a game of baseball, and achieve my degree. So pretty much after that, we fly to Medical City Plano, in the helicopter. They have me in the neck brace, and I'm just thinking, holy cow, I was supposed to be getting ready for the draft. I was throwing, my velo was up 93, 95, and everything just flipped upside down. I was like, am I going to be able to go to college? Is Missouri going to still want me? And so, helicopter lands, I'm kind of fading in and out of consciousness, and the helicopter lands. And I just remember hearing my mom's voice, because it was all blocked off because of COVID. And I remember her yelling, Chase, are you okay? And me and Seth are getting wheeled into the hospital. And with all of my might, I stick my right hand in the air and to let her know I was okay and alive. And so we get into Medical City Plano. And that night they're like, all right, we're going to have to do emergency spinal surgery on you. Your L4 is fractured. If we don't fix it, you might not be able to walk. So they go in there and do a spinal fusion surgery. Fix me up. Next day, they're like, it was successful. Everything went well. Today, you're going to have femur surgery. We're going to put a titanium rod in your right femur. And I underwent that surgery. And woke up the next day and kind of just started healing. Burns were still healing. I had my skin graft surgery that Friday. So I kind of just stayed in bed till Friday, didn't get out, was just worried about Seth because, he's in a coma for 3 days, so they said he only had a 10% chance of living. So I prayed every night, made sure he was okay. And on that Friday before my surgery, he woke up after having, so much internal damage, broken ribs, burns through his arm, top of his head, everywhere, chest, back. And just hearing that he was alive just, put a lot of worries to rest for me. And it was good to just know he was okay and that we both made it out. And so he was only a few doors down from me in the burn unit. So I got to hang out with him. Obviously we were pretty injured and COVID and everything. We couldn't really, see our families or anything. So that was tough, but we both had each other in that process, which I think was huge. And, we both went through a lot of pain with the burns and stuff. Skin grafts aren't fun to deal with, and having, to do PT with burns and broken back and a broken spine, or a broken femur rather, is just, it's a grind. It's just, a lot of people probably would have given up on my baseball career, but, I had to stay determined. And so then, kind of getting through that 3-week hospital stay, that was brutal, but, I made it out. I was okay. And, Seth was in there for 5 or 6 weeks, but, I saw him when he got out. We looked like different people. We both dropped a ton of weight. I probably dropped about 40 pounds. He dropped about 40 pounds. And, we both had the long hair, had to get cut because, some of my hair singed off and he had a burn on his head. So we looked like different people, but we both knew that, if we both believed in each other and, we worked hard, we'd get through this. And so, it's almost a year away from the crash today. What's today, the 19th, 20th? Yeah, it was March 24th of last year. So it's been a year of recovery. I've had some setbacks. Screws in my back broke, so I had to get those removed. So had those removed last week. And I'm just trying to get in shape, get my arm back to full health. And I think I'll be able to come back, working on mobility and just trying to get the physical side of it there. And hopefully I'll be come back by the end of the season, ready to throw a couple innings. It's going to be a great story, coming from what happened. So, yeah,
That's
so it's
crazy.
a pretty big deal. A lot of medical bills, a lot of times just wondering, am I ever going to pitch again? Am I going to be the same pitcher? But that's kind of secondary to where, you can just be grateful that you got saved and, you didn't die.
Yeah, it's really good that Missouri still allowed you to come and didn't take away your scholarship or anything. Because I know they could have. They very well could have. I know it's in there, right? But it's awesome that they took a chance on you. And
the staff was, they were very understanding of what happened. They were just glad I was okay. And, they said, take your time. We're not going to rush you back. We trust you. We believe in you. So that was kind of the words I needed to hear. And, I'm doing everything I can to get back on the field with my team, help them out. Yeah,
and it is good that, especially, it's, obviously it's horrible that happened, but if it were to happen during COVID, because now it doesn't count. This year doesn't count towards your eligibility. Yeah,
exactly.
So it's kind of like you're just getting another year to like
recover.
Yeah, you might not
So,
be getting physically better just because you're still trying to cover, but you're around the game more, so you can like
oh
keep
yeah, I
building your
can't.
mental side.
Oh, it's crazy how, much more I've, been able to understand how complex pitching is, and understanding the game, and being able to watch and, learn how to call pitches, and, you know, work out, learn how to read swings, work through batters, all that stuff has just been unbelievable and super helpful. So it's learning just the mental side of baseball. Our coach here go big on the mental part, and he has taught me a lot about, what it takes on the mound to, be competitive. And if you need to pitch backwards, just how to pitch backwards and everything. And it's been great. I'm watching a ton of baseball, getting a lot better, and I can't wait to, apply what I've learned, once I start getting back on the hill. I got to pitch in January before they shut me back down again, and taking what I learned in the fall, and just kind of, it's my first 5 batters in 10 or 11 months. And I struck out 5 in a row, through 70% strikes. And I think that was huge. So I'm excited to build, back on that.
All right. So if you could take anyone's, like, if you could drop one of your pitches and then pick up someone else's of the same pitch. So like if you were to drop your changeup, you get someone else's changeup. What pitch would it be and whose would you take?
Oh man, that's a good question. I always wish my stuff could get better, and if I could throw things for strikes at all times, I probably would. I'd probably take Clayton Kershaw's curveball. He's only given up 13 or 14. I don't know how many homers, but an extremely low home run rate on his curveball. You can throw that for a strike in any count. Moves a lot, keeps the hitters off balance, can throw it to both sides of the plate. I think it's an extremely effective pitch. Planes right off his fastball. It's an extremely effective pitch, and it's probably one of the greatest pitches of all time. So, why wouldn't I want to have that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who would you say that your MLB comparison would be if you could, if you could pick one that you'd be like, I want to idol my game after him, or if someone's like, I think my pitching motion and the way I pitch is similar to him.
Ooh,
There's some good left-handers in the world of MLB to get to choose from.
That's a good question. I always watch pitchers, and there's, no pitcher ever really pitches the same,
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't really said, oh, I'm a lot like this guy or a lot like that guy, but I just try to mimic some of the patterns and some of the pitches that, I'm a pretty traditional pitcher. So, I throw from, 12 o'clock slot, 11 o'clock right here. And I just keep, I'm just try to keep everything in the hallway. So I'm not really, it's not like I have a funky delivery or anything. I just try to be on time and on sync with it. So any pitchers that really just kind of have a simpler mechanical base and good posture is kind of what I look to be. I try to take elements of a lot of pitchers and just kind of incorporate them into my own.
So when you start, what does your routine look like? Are you getting like the same breakfast every day? Do you have any superstitions or anything on the day that you start?
Before bed, I try to visualize a lot of good stuff, making my pitches, staying competitive, staying focused for, 7 innings, or, and I just say, hey, I'm going to take this one pitch at a time. I'm going to stay locked in. So I kind of mentally visualize before each start how it's going to go. I wake up, try to wake up early, get a hot shower, and I turn it on cold so I can be ready. Just kind of get the body right and the mind right. And, I'll go and try to get some eggs, try to get some bacon, just try to get a lot of carbs I can run on for the day. Drink a Bang all times, got to get the blue raz Bang before my start. And I'll stay pretty calm, just trying to keep my, I won't talk to anybody, just kind of keep my mind on my start. And, go into warm-ups, get nice and loose, make sure I'm sweating so I can come out fresh, stay fresh. And then, I'll play a good game, extend catch, just try to feel where my arm's at. I'm like, all right, if my arm's, feeling good, nice and hot. And that's why I try to prepare for every time. It's just, hey, I'm going to feel good and going out there. My body's going to feel right and stay hydrated, obviously, at all times. And, that formula usually works best for me.
How different is it when you relieve? Because obviously sometimes if you're in the bullpen, you don't necessarily know when you're going to pitch.
Honestly, I've not been a reliever since my freshman year of high school. I've been a starter every year at every school I've been at. So Reedy started 3 years there. Grayson started 2 years there in the rotation. And so I've really I've really had a starter's mindset the last couple of years. So I think that's also helped me in, getting a lot of innings at a lot of time at a time, and just building a routine and learning what works for me. Starting that earlier in my career is extremely beneficial. But, coming back from injury, I might not be able to go, 5, 6, 7 innings for a little bit. So I'm gonna have to learn, what it's like to get hot quick. And it's going to be a new challenge for me, but it's pitching. You got to adjust. That's the name of the game. There's going to be adversity at all times. So I think if I can, learn how to relieve, it'll, just benefit me more in my career. If they need me to, come in against lefty specialists or against lefties, in a certain position in the ball game, then I'll do that. I'm open to pitch at any time, but I'm used to be a starter. But, I think I can be effective at any point in the game.
All right. So I know you said, you started at OU. Did you get heavily recruited by OU out of high school? Because I know you committed pretty early.
Yeah, I committed when I was at the end of my sophomore year. I was an extremely projectable arm. I was a 6 foot, 150-pound lefty that was running it up to, 90, 91 as a sophomore in high school. And I got recruited by them pretty early. And, Skip Johnson there, he's a great coach, one of the brightest minds in the game. And I said, why not? That seems like a great fit. And so I was really, really happy going there. Got a great opportunity. But so they liked me a lot, and I was really excited to go there.
I know you've gotten some MLB scouts looking at you. Was it mainly out of high school, or was it after going to Grayson?
Yeah, I mean, my senior year, I had a really good senior year. It was first team All-State. I had pretty good K numbers. I had like 100 Ks and like 60 innings. So, I mean, I was showing good stuff. I had a little command issues time to time. I wasn't really refined yet. So I don't think I was really ready for, minor league baseball at that time. I needed to get stronger. But yeah, I had a few at-homes. I had some scouts come and talk to me, and it was a cool process, just kind of being like, hey, that shows me a chance that shows me that I could have the path or, potential to go play in the pros, which is, extremely humbling. It makes me work even harder towards it. So, and then at Grayson last year, I was running my fastball up to 94, 95 in a couple of outings. Mizzou saw me when I was in the fall. I threw 94, 95, and, I had a good curveball, good hook, and I still wasn't as refined as I wanted to. I was still having some days where I couldn't throw 3 pitches for a strike. So, but, like JUCO, I got a lot bigger. And so I think if I could have had a good year at Grayson, without COVID and everything, I think I could have had a good chance, to get picked up. And it's been my dream always to play professional baseball. So.
All right. So at Mizzou, are you guys like kind of what are y'all's COVID protocols looking like? Are you guys in a bubble? How often are you guys getting tested? Are you going to class? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we follow the NCAA guidelines, so masking, social distancing, all that stuff. All my classes, I have the option to do them online. So, we're getting tested 2-3 times a week. So I just choose, to stay home and try to, not catch it or anything. Cause, if we have one COVID test positive, everybody could get contact traced and we could lose. So I try to follow those pretty strictly.
Yeah. Have you guys had to have any games get canceled or moved at all because of COVID stuff?
Not yet. So knock on wood. We don't want any of our series to get canceled because every series in that's crucial. So.
Mm-hmm. So did you coming out of high school and coming out of Grayson, did you have a lot of other D1 offers?
Yeah, I had a solid amount of offers. I really like the recruiting coordinator at Mizzou, Todd Butler. He's won the recruiting coordinator national title a couple times. He's been to Omaha, I think 4 or 5 times, and he's been with premier programs. So I really, he's a great guy. He seemed like a player's coach and someone I really believed in and had faith in. So he was a great guy.
What are some things about the head coach of Mizzou that you kind of like, some kind of like quirks, something that you're like, oh, I didn't really think that he would like this or not like this, or just some interesting, because every college coach has their own different things that they follow. And so what are some stuff that you've gotten to like learn from him?
He's just a guy that does, he likes things to be done the right way. And if, when we're doing things the right way and we can, play our game. We're not the traditional big power SEC team with, we're not a Mississippi State or, an Ole Miss, but he understands our brand of baseball and we try to execute that. So if we can, execute the little things, bunt defense, first and thirds, situational baseball, that's kind of our bread and butter, throwing strikes, situational pitching. That's where he's really knowledgeable in the game. He's a great game manager. So that's kind of what, our game is. And I think it's, good to play in a system where there's, some MLB teams run that kind of system, small ball, speed defense type of team.
So I know when you were at Grayson, I mean, I saw you come out of high school just because, we went to the same high school. And then I got to see you like after your first year at Grayson, it looks like you put on like a lot of muscle trying to like build a lot of muscle. Was that your main focus going into Grayson?
That was something, in my game that I was like, hey, if I can, being 150 pounds, 6'2", that's not strong enough to play, pitch in the big leagues. And I always wanted to pitch in the big leagues. And me and a few teammates were like, hey, let's learn how to lift. Let's learn how to get stronger. And I spent, 2 hours in the weight room every day at an office in Sherman, just getting bigger, learning how to lift, eating right. I spent, a lot of money in protein shakes, protein bars, meals, trying to get bigger. And that was a huge thing for me. And my stuff improved and my stamina improved. And that was huge. And that was, part of the JUCO experience to where, hey, I can go and I have the time to lift 2 hours a day and I can focus on me and my person and treat my body as a temple. So I think that was huge in my development as a pitcher.
So whether if it was at Grayson or in high school, do you have like a specific performance that you can remember that was like your best performance ever?
I mean, as far as a pitching standpoint goes, where all my pitches are working to each part of the zone and the results are there. I remember one of my starts my senior year against Liberty High School. I went 7 innings, like 13 Ks, and I think 1 or 2 walks and allowed 1 hit. And I just remember I was like, that's what, a complete pitching performance looked like. And, that was one of the first times everything has come together for me on the mound. And, fastball was lively, 92, 93. Curveball was just falling right off the table in for a strike and swings and mitches, pitching backwards, switching up guys, crossing them up. So I was really just impressed of how I was able to navigate through batters, go to a different approach for each batter, learn their swing, see what they did the first at bat, make an adjustment the second at bat, and just kind of kept rolling with it. And the interesting part about that game is I matched up with one of West Virginia pitchers, Tim Waina at and he almost outdueled me. He went 7 innings, like 2 runs, 2 hits, 12 Ks. So it was just a back and forth game. It was awesome. And then I remember one of my first starts at Grayson against Alvin Junior College in Houston. It was a short notice start, and I got the ball. I think I went 5 innings, 10 Ks, 2 runs, and it was one of those performances I was really impressed with. And I'll never forget it because it was my first collegiate start.
So I know, growing up in the DFW area, there are a lot of good ball players that come out of the DFW area. How much do you think playing high school ball and playing like summer ball in the DFW area helped you to get to where you are now?
Oh, I give all my credit to, the baseball culture in Dallas. Ton of guys have come out of Dallas and the programs I've played for, Ryan Benicio, D-Bat. He's coached guys like Heston Kerstad, Jacob Nesbitt. There's a tons of guys. He's been to the Connie Mack World Series a ton of times with great teams. So, Candace Smith has played for him. The list goes on and on about players that have played for him and kind of learned the game. And, he gets them ready for college or the pros, whatever they're going to. So, I think he's always putting together great talent and just letting the players play and telling them what they need to do to get ready for the next level. And I kind of, that's one of the most fun times that I've had in my life playing baseball was for D-Bat Elite, going the Connie Mack route and just competing for championships in and day out, or, for that Connie Mack title. I think it was awesome. And then working with Mike Bassick out in Arlington was huge too, because, I think he's the most knowledgeable pitching coach in the area. So working with him and combination of playing with Benicio was just a great experience for me. And I know a lot of other players that could say the same thing.
All right, so I got one more question for you. If you could go back in time and see any historical baseball event, what would it be?
I would love to see the Eric Gagne Barry Bonds at bat. I think back in
Mhm.
2000, 2004, bottom of the ninth, and Eric Gagne is throwing 100, and they just battle. It's the best hitter versus some of the best stuff in baseball. So, seeing him Gagne get ahead and then Barry, fight back 3-2 count, and him just hitting missile foul ball and just goes dead center. That's one of the most intense at bats probably I've ever watched, and I've heard about is that at bat. So pure stuff versus the center on the planet. Usually pitching wins, but that's one of the rare moments where a hitter just just is better than the pitcher, and I think it was a great at bat. And I just remember the stadium and the videos being electric during that. So that
Was
was
that
cool.
was that was that the at bat where he said, "I'm going to give you one curveball," and then after that, straight heaters? I'm pretty
I
sure
don't
that
know.
was the. I've heard a story about a Barry Bonds at bat. I don't remember who it was, but they talked about it. Like if they got in a situation like that, that he was gonna throw one breaking ball to Barry Bonds somewhere in the count, but everything else is gonna be straight fastballs. I
Well,
think there was that at bat.
I don't know. That would be a pretty stupid approach for me because the best hitters in baseball are the ones that have the fastball, and
Yeah,
Barry probably has the quickest hands I've ever seen. So I'd be
yeah.
mixing Barry Bonds or trying to find his weakness. But when you throw 100, sometimes you can think and you can get away with it. But
Yeah.
I thought that was
All
pretty
right.
cool.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. This is Chase Van Dyke, left-handed pitcher from Missouri. Good luck with the rest of the season. Hopefully, you get to get back on the mound at some point, and look forward to talking to you again.
Thanks, Cam. You have a good one.
All right. See you.